All right.
What's the word? What's the deal? What's good?
What up? What up? What up?
So
I'm
I can see everything.
gonna have to step out.
all right, cool. That'll
Okay,
work.
sure enough. All right. Safe travels, King.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to jump back in and out. So y'all chop it up
All right, copy. Say no more.
later.
Appreciate it. So shout to the peoples. Pardon the technical difficulties that's been going on as of late, man. It's just been a lot of a lot of just that technical difficulties, man. But we working it out and we pushing forward, man. Welcome to Battle Boy Media, man. Got the brother Crossroads on deck. Um, we appreciate everybody that's been tapping in, that's been giving feedback, engaging, encouragement, inspiration, all type of words of support, man. Like it's definitely appreciated, man. Just want you guys to share the live, man. Tap in, forgive my Brooklyn as well. Shout to my boy too. Battle Boy Media, man. We here where we gonna be dripping in gems for eternity, man. This is what we do, man. We got a little something different today that we're gonna actually bring towards the platform, and you know, it falls in line. I want to believe in a form of self work, like the homework that I've been speaking about in prior episodes that we've actually been doing. But this one is it's going to be a little bit different, but the message is going to be potent as it should be. So everybody that's in the comment areas, peoples that's tuned in, do share the live, do engage, do comment. And hopefully in the near future, man, we have some of you guys pull up as well too, man. The screen is always an open invite for those that's willing to, add on, share, and just push the message, man. Push the envelope forward for the most part.
Indeed. 'Cause this is that work that matters for sure. And shout out, forgive my Brooklyn and Battle Boy Media.
No doubt.
And what I'm just talking about is the appreciation for those that's tuning in. And it begins with the thumbnail. And I want to shout out Battle Boy Media for this interesting thumbnail. And I began to realize that Battle Boy Media thumbnails are not visuals just to capture your attention, right? But they're visuals to promote your thinking. They are visual to promote your thinking. And today, interestingly, the thumbnail is amazing, man. You got a young brother running through a battlefield, right? Go figure, right? So, and moving forward, I'm gonna let you guys in on something that Fizzy didn't tell y'all yet, but I'm gonna spill the beans. When he start pushing his merch, those who comment on the energy they get from the thumbnails, he gonna send y'all some free merch. Those that comment on the energy that you get from the visuals, he's gonna be sending y'all free merch. All right. And this visual today, let me comment on what I get from it. I see a young man running through the battlefield, right? There's mines and there's things blowing up behind him, but he has to be mindful of the direction he's running in because he could step on a landmine before him.
Indeed.
Right? So again, the thumbnails are not just up there to capture attention, they are to promote critical thinking. And this is a continuation of that work that matters. So today's thumbnail, it says what it takes to succeed at risk, right? And just for a little wrap, the World Health Organization, WHO, defines an adolescent as an individual between the ages of 10 and 19. Okay. Now you have some psychologists that says that adolescent stage should be a few years longer. It should go up to age 25 because at age 25 they reason the mind fully develops the areas of impulse control, and decision making.
Got you.
So I just want to put that as the backdrop.
No
But
doubt.
let's talk about those stages of adolescence. There's 3 stages. So Fife, I want to peel back some of the layers, like you say, and I want you to tell me, I want you to tell me a pivotal moment between the age of 10 and 13. I mean, your adolescence, and even to more specifically, focus you in, talk about physical growth. Age 10 to 13, you should have been in the 5th through 9th grade. So those years, just to put you in your mind in that place, between the ages of 10 and 13, it's the grades 5 through 9. Tell me something about some physical growth. Did your voice change? Did you start getting bigger around those age, 10 to 13?
The ages 10 to 13.
Where did you go to school at, 5th through 9th?
5th grade? 5th grade, I was actually in Texas.
Hmm.
And then we came back to New York. And I did junior high school in Marine Park. Physically, no, I was just always I never thought that I would gain any height. So I definitely didn't start like growing really until, I went to do, the big bid. But the physical changes that I went through, I don't think my voice got deeper. I didn't get no facial hairs, barely got any now. Like, I think like the environment more so is what like grasped me and made me like adapt to what was going on, as well as me like pressing the gas as well. Between 10 and 13, I wasn't a virgin. I know that.
Which is a big thing. Puberty's happening. Things is going on.
Yeah, puberty. 12, I started smoking. 12, 13 years old. Fighting has always been a part of everything, just by having a big brother. Like I said in other other segments, I was picked on a lot, by brother and my cousin or whatever the case may be. So I got the treatment and held my own to the best of my ability at that very young age or whatever the case may be,
Yeah. So that's cool. So I want the audience to hold on to this thing. Now, in his first stage of adolescence, 10 to 13, you think about where you were through 5th through 9th grade. And for Fizzy, he was in Texas. He moved to New York. He went through a Marine Park. Just think of the cultural changes he went through. He was already smoking. He wasn't a virgin. This was 10 to 13. So all these things are happening, right? In that stage. Now let's go to the second stage, Fife, around 14 through 17. When your cognitive way of thinking began. Think about your independence. Yeah, what did you want to do independently? What did you? Was you ready to get out of mommy house? Was you ready to work? Were you tired of being given chores? What was did you have any thoughts of independence?
Of independence, like I definitely wanted to be older than the age that I was at that time. So by like 14, I already had a pack. I was already on the block. Killing the community, so to speak, with the poison. I was already outside. One of the big bros came home or whatever and seen us, playing around on the block, not doing too much of anything. The corner store happened to be a drug spot. He ran up in a spot, got it, and had us on the strip. So I started, playing around with getting bread at a young age. And that was in between the first part, 13ish, 14ish, like still managed to somewhat come home and abide by my mother's rules. 15, I'm already, in Spofford, getting ready to go to Tryon, DFY. 16, I may have chilled out for a few. And 17, I went back to juvenile facility, man, and had to finish up the rest of the time that I owed because I was just out of control. And my mother ended up putting a PINS warrant out on me. And, for those that's not familiar with that, is, pretty much when a child is just out of control and a parent feels like they don't have too much say so in that kid's life and he's just doing what he wants to do. So, they go get a PINS warrant and, juvenile peoples come and get you and you gotta go face music.
Yeah, and that's poignant as well because you were at that stage where you wanted to be older. You was at that stage where you're already hustling. There was things that you wanted, there was things that you desired that maybe mommy didn't want to give it to you when you wanted it, or maybe there was other things that had to be prioritized in the household. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And that's thinking, that's striking out. So those are the motivating factors that help shape your thinking and your sense of self. But now the third stage of your adolescence, 18 to 21, the emotional part, I want you to speak on. When you had an identity formation going on, who did you see yourself as? Talk about that.
Between 17 and 19?
No, 18 to 21.
Between 18 and 21, who I saw myself as,
your identity, it was forming. What did you think of yourself? What did you see yourself? That hustler coming up, did you want a vehicle? Did you want a motorcycle? Did you want the big home? How did you see yourself as that superhero? Did those powers metamorphosize into something?
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely, like I said in another episode, as a kid, I wanted to be Incredible Hulk. And even at, that age, 17, 18, 19, I was still small in frame, physical-wise, whatever the case may be. But, like I just finished saying, like I was outside already, getting involved in a lot of things, man, getting myself cases, mainly, stolen vehicles or whatever the case may be. I looked at myself as, I want to say a leader, but was just leading in the wrong way based off of what it is that I've learned and what it is that I picked up. Was a loyal, still is a loyal individual, but I was just ignorant to a lot of the things that took place when it came to the streets, and I thought that I had it all figured out. Maybe I was a little bit too big for my own bridges, or whatever the case may be. But that's how I carried myself, and I always, what I wanted for myself, I wanted for, my peoples that was around me, whatever the case may be. But that's just not how the streets is. That's not how the streets work, for the most part, especially in those ages. So 17, like I said, I did a bid in 17, came home same year. 18, I must have chilled out, in the streets and on a block. 19, I left to go do the 15 stretch. So I didn't really, I didn't last in the streets too long based off of the things that I chose to do.
Yeah, which is deep, because during these three developmental stages of adolescence, transitioning from a youth into adulthood, you were going through these stages. So now let's pivot for a second.
Okay.
The thumbnail is what it takes to succeed at risk. There's a clinical classification for at-risk youth, right? And at-risk youth is clinically classified as an adolescent who is less likely to transition successfully into adulthood, one, and two, an adolescent less likely to achieve economic self-sufficiency. The first one is easy to understand, but what do we mean when we say economic self-sufficiency? What we mean is, in the simple terms, at the heart of it, it means a household able to support themselves without any financial assistance, right?
Got it.
You know,
Yeah.
a family, you know, the health care, child care, paying rent, medical bills, after school programs, doctor visits, and you know, so all of those things, they say that adolescents less likely to have those, less likely to achieve those, right?
Mhm.
So the flip side, what the problem is, what would it take? What would it take for an adolescent to most likely succeed? That's the problem we gotta look at, right?
Mm, mm.
Um, so let's look at some milestones.
Okay.
Going back to what we discovered, what we discussed, what you were sharing between 10 to 13, those stages when there's physical growth happening, when it's puberty happening, when you're in grades 5 through 9, things you experience. What was black and white to you? What was concrete?
From 5th grade to 9th grade.
Yeah, what was concrete? What was black and white? Meaning to you, it was a fact and no one could change that. What were the facts to you?
I gotta get money so I don't have to continue being poor, or us being on welfare. Like, trying to make a change of how things were within the household. So money was always like a motivating factor. Um, and that's just based off of me watching, my mother struggle. She's always at work or whatever. So the supervision aspect of, me growing up, like, I always found like scapegoats because my mother always was at work. And my older brother, like I said, I didn't really gravitate towards that. So I tended to just move around for myself and just feel things out and get involved, you know?
Mm, that's deep. So you already in your building stages and your developing stages, you're already trying to think as an adult. You already think as how you can take some of the stress, some of the workload off of mommy's shoulders, off of mommy's shoulders at a stage where you're still growing and developing. That's something to think about. So what were some of your gray areas, the abstract areas? And what I mean gray areas, what were some of those areas where you knew things was wrong, but you still figured you'll go right on and do it anyway?
The gray areas, selling crack. I had started selling crack at a young age.
Mhm.
You know, Fights with peoples in the neighborhood. Those that wanted to be like a part of what it is that we had going on the block or whatever. Like, fighting, being able to hold yourself down by yourself, like that meant a lot to us. So if you didn't know how to fight, like, there was just no way you could hang around, because you're gonna fight one of us, if not a couple of us, on a regular basis. Doing wrong but doing it strong.
Oh, yeah.
That was the gray areas for me. Like, I knew what it is that I was doing every time I did it. It's just that, again, I already had my eye on the prize of making situations better, even though I ended up getting lost along the way. You know?
And a great, yeah, I hear you, brother. And a great point you just made is that, you know, strong and wrong, knowing it was wrong, but you still did it. So it's a good segue into the next stage I want you to discuss, socially speaking. Family-centered life. What was family, briefly, what was family-centered life about? What was it like?
um, to
You
me,
spoke
like,
a little bit about loyalty, though. You spoke a little about being together, meaning you fight one cousin, we all coming. So what was like family-centered life? Some of those core principles.
um, definitely, it was love within the family. Um, it's weird, man. It was a lot of, I'm not gonna say segregated love. I guess with my family, like once I got to a certain point and they seen how I was moving or whatever, it was one of those like, "Oh, we gonna back and forth for this one because this is a little bit different. Like there's no, you know, we have a lot of women in my family. It's not a lot of dudes in the family, whatever the case may be. And my family is hardworking. I come from a hardworking, structured family. Um, you know, I have a lot of aunts, one uncle. Um, they didn't they didn't drink. I never seen them drink, smoke a cigarette, more or less weed. Like no
Mhm.
addicts.
Mhm.
Um, like yeah, like so that I didn't come from that as far as like family wise is concerned. But at the end of the day, I looked at it like it was just, me and my mother. And of course my brother, besides the sibling rivaling or whatever, man. But
Mhm.
my mother my mother had it hard, growing up. And especially with two boys by herself, but she definitely always showed love. My aunts, they assisted and helped when they could, and they had kids as well too. But for the most part, I just looked at it like it was me, my mother, and my brother.
Yeah. Now let's compare that to peer-centered life. You spoke about family-centered life. Let's compare that to your peers, dudes from the block, from your neighborhood, dudes from your group, your class.
Um, they was everything to me. I think at that time, you know, it wasn't it wasn't nothing that I wouldn't, do for the sake of the crew. Um, I think I definitely spent more time with the peoples on the streets than any other family member. Um, and I held them to a regard that I would want them to hold myself to, or whatever the case may be. But again, in the streets, it just doesn't work that way, and you end up finding out things the hard way. But everything was about pretty much the crew, defending the block, you know, making sure the reputation was upheld to a certain standard, by doing ignorant things, doing the wrong and strong things.
Mm, okay, sure. So let's talk about on the emotional tip now. Um, what was a unique sense of self that you had? What was something that you felt was uniquely you, growing
Um,
and coming into your sense of self?
I think just that, being the person that I was at those times. I didn't really like follow what others did or take too much of a command from this one or that one. Like I'll take heed to things or whatever, but I was like my own person at a very young age. Um, I feel like I was very smart for my own good. Um, and was able to like put things together and bring people together and like form alliances amongst you know us being on the block. um I guess so a good way of like moving a crowd in a sense, or you know being able to just, I guess, be cool with people from the block and beyond, because it was pretty, we had a pretty big crew that
Mhm.
didn't just stem from the block that I was from, based off of individuals that I knew from other places. So I was actually able to like bring them all together to the block.
Yeah. On that note, I want you now to compare that to a sense of self that your mother or your parents or your aunt had for you? Did they think you was naive to certain things going on in the streets? Because mothers always tell us, get off that corner, don't hang out with that boy, watch that girl. You know, they have that sense of intuition. So, so it probably rings true for most of us, right? So, what was um your family or your parents or your aunties and them? What was their opinion about Battle Boy?
If they had any opinions, they didn't tell me. They may have said it to my mother, and then my mother like reacted and try to come down on me. But I was just out of control. Very, very, very rebellious. At a point, my mother just couldn't tell me nothing at a very young age. Like I just wasn't trying to hear nothing.
But did she see that rebellious youth? Did she see that rebellious youth? Did she see her little baby boy who she wanted to shelter, who she wanted to instill in, who she know had good principles and good morals, who she knows saw her struggles? Is that the angle that she looked at you? Is that the lens she saw you as, in your opinion?
She looked at me like her baby boy, but I could tell in the same token she was looking at me like, what's happening to my baby boy? Like she couldn't understand what was happening right before her eyes. But me looking back at it now is like, you can't see what's happening before your eyes because you're always at work. So you're just seeing the glimpse of what you get to see. Outside of that, it was a totally different me, so
yeah.
Again, my aunts never said nothing to me directly. I was disrespectful, bro, for the most part, man. And that's nothing to be proud of or whatever the case may be. I was just at a point at that age where, family members was like, you know what, we're not going to say nothing to this one. Like, he's just, and I might have been like the only boy in the family that was like that. So I'm sure it was very new to my family to see this type of behavior going on because, we don't come from that. Like we wasn't raised like that. But some way, somehow, I ended up being the way that I chose to be,
Yeah, but mommy have a way of knowing without seeing, right? Mommy got that intuition that's spot on. So we think they at work, but they know. And aunties, I know of some, but your aunties, man, I'm sure if they didn't verbalize something to you, they prayed about it.
Of course, definitely.
They always spoke good things in the universe about you. They always covered you in ways you probably don't even understand, right?
Sure
And then I guess some of the things you discussed and the family that you helped create that grew into a nation, that model, loyalty, vigilance, strength, and sacrifice. I can see why you was able to gravitate and help form the family that you did with those same core principles from your childhood.
Yeah.
Being loyal, being on point, you know what I'm saying? Being strong because you had to, you know what I'm saying? And being there to sacrifice your family and or the peeps, your peers, And then you surround yourself. You can hear me? Yeah, Fife will be right back. And then you surrounded yourself with people that and then I was saying you surrounded yourself with people that you felt was worthy of your sacrifice, or people you felt you was worthy to give them your sacrifice, So a lot of things from our childhood, especially our adolescent stages, that 10 to 19 or 10 to 25, is a pivotal point in the forming of who we are, who we aspire to be, and who we ultimately become. But it all starts with those three stages right there. So what it takes to succeed at risk, again, the flip side is, what did we need to more likely succeed instead of less likely succeeding? You know, what do we need? So this is, again, we hope the audience take from this your life trajectory and your ultimate road to success, your road to redemption, how you was able to do it, to be inspired and encouraged to do the same. And I know you still setting up your channel. You still in the pot. You know what I'm saying? Putting this stew together, man, to serve to the family, to the community. But we implore you guys to reach out. Life is available to come in and do talks, do speech. He's available for events. Or he's just available to listen, man. You know, and give you guys some feedback. You know, share. This is that work that matters. You know, always dripping in gems. And we just want to get to it, man. Share if you can.
No doubt. Appreciate
On this
that.
note, brother, I'm gonna have to give it to you, and I'll still be in tune, but I got to get on the road.
All right, say no more. Appreciate you. Salutes, bro. Travel safe.
Yes, sir. No question. Peace.
Yeah. So, just for the record, right? That was definitely not scripted. Wasn't planned. It just so happened. You know, the brother mentioned something, and you know, I trusted my brother to the point where, you know, whatever it is that we're gonna do on a format today, like it'll give off what it's supposed to give off. I definitely wasn't expecting to be vulnerable to the point to give myself to you guys, especially with digging back, you know, into my past or whatever, and how I, you know, developed like a certain kind of mentality or whatever the case may be. But that all I want y'all to know, like, you know, that all coincides with everything that, you know, I've been or we've been doing on each episode or segments that you guys been tuning in on. Again, I had mentioned something a couple episodes back as far as like, you know, we have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to do our homework. We have to do the self-work on ourselves to be able to, you know, pinpoint certain areas in our life and be able to face that. And not only face that, hold ourselves accountable for those actions and then find solutions for it. So like, you know, the brother Crossroads just finished saying, man, you know, I'm still, you know, stirring my own pot within, you know, bringing my own family together, you know, facing certain things that I never chose to face back then, or even throughout the time that I ended up doing, or whatever the case may be. Like, you know, is layers and layers and layers and layers in order for me to bring myself to be the best person that I could be for, you know, myself, you know, my family and my community. Again, just echoing what the brother said, man, this is more or less, you know, the work that actually matters. And without you, like, outside of you, what else would really matter? Understand what I'm saying? We're gonna continue to be dripping in gems. I appreciate everybody that pulled up. Do share this live. Again, this was a curveball for me, man. But again, life is like that at times. You know, everything isn't gonna always be scripted. Or you know how it goes when you say, like, you could plan something down to a T, but if a curveball come in or whatever, like, you have to, you know, have the ground beneath your feet and be able to stay the course. So hopefully by me, you know, sharing what it is that I did share with you guys will be able to do the same thing within yourself and start to peel back those layers. Bring your true self to the surface, to the forefront, and stay the course. Because as long as we got air in our lungs or whatever, like, that's pretty much, you know, that's pretty much the push. You guys enjoy y'all weekend. Yeah, Battle Boy Media, man, where we dripping in gems, man. Y'all stay woke or stay, no, wake up or no, stay woke or wake up. Pardon me. Shout to Forgive My Brooklyn for putting this together. I'm getting a little bit tongue tied because now I'm thinking about what it is I just finished sharing. But again, it's all good. A lot of times transparency is definitely needed in order, to see a lot of what's been suppressed. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that, man. Stay woke or wake up. Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. If you like what's on the platform, subscribe. If you subscribe, comment, engage, man. Like, get involved. Hit me up in the comment section or whatever the case may be, man. We available. We here. Shout to Forgive My Brooklyn again. Shout to my bro too. And I see you guys tomorrow, man. We out.
Hey, yeah.